Hey everybody, it's Goblinox and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we'll be playing another sealed event of Dominaria United. Without further ado, let's bust open these packs and start building this deck. Alright, well, these are our rares, I guess. I don't see anything remotely playable, let alone a bomb, so some really bad rares here. However, we do have a couple pain lands for some mana fixing, which could be decent if we have some good common mana fixing as well that could let us be one of these nice multicolored domain decks. But when it comes to these rares, there aren't a lot of soldiers in the set, so Valiant Veteran doesn't really do anything. Aren't a ton of elves in the set, so Leaf Crown Visionary doesn't really do anything. Academy Lore Master is just bad because your opponent is going to get the extra card draw before you do if it matters. And then the Threats Undetected is just very slow and pretty dirtily, so we are 4 for 4 on basically unplayable rares here, so we'll see if we have some sweet stuff in the uncommon and common slot to make up for that at least. So we're going to start with the multicolored and the colorless here. Looks like we do have some pretty great mana fixing. We have Adarkar Wastes, 2 Molten Tributary, Geothermal Bog, Haunted Mire, Wooded Ridgeline, Sacred Peaks, and Karplusan Forest. We've also got a Meteorite, a Salvaged Mana Worker, so that could be fine. Other colorless cards, Walking Bulwark can be good if you have a lot of defenders. Vanquisher's Axe is not super playable though. Do we have any really big, really clear reasons to go for any specific color pair? Not really. Rada is fine. Bortuk is probably our best multicolor card. And it fits incredibly well into a more splashy kind of domain deck, so I'm probably going to end up running that. Balmor is pretty strong, but Balmor is much more of a build-around that becomes a lot stronger in draft, where you can draft all of these cheap instants and sorceries and cheap creatures to work with it. Doesn't pan out to be quite as strong in sealed very often. Rona's fine, Elas is fine, and Tura is a bit slow, not great. Actually, I think Elas is pretty good, but going to be a difficult mana cost if we go for a splashy deck and try to cast a 2 mana, 2 different color pipped card. Let's take a look at each individual color now. We've got triple Sunbathing Root Wallet, just going to see that as I'm scooching by, and double Sprouting Goblin. Those are really good red-green mana fixing cards, but let's see what we've got in white first. Just do it in Wooburg order. So white looks pretty fine over here. Nothing super spicy, nothing super terrible. We actually do have enough soldiers for the Valiant Veteran that I might try to run it if I played white. We have 2 Argivian Phalanx and Resolute Reinforcements. There's not much of a downside to the Veteran, at least. It is a 2 mana 2/2. Which is fine filler, so if we were in white because we have reinforcements and phalanx, maybe I'd play the veteran. But again, nothing super exciting in white. I think our best card in white is Knight of Dawn's Light, just incredibly powerful for its mana cost. Very good mana sink ability. We've got pretty good removal in white as well, a Citizen's Arrest to exile any creature, destroy evil to get rid of big creatures and enchantments, runic shots for tapped creatures. Pretty good removal in white. That's probably the biggest draw to the color. Other than that, decent little bit of some okay creatures here. Checking out our blue now. This also seems pretty solid. I don't see any massive reasons to be in blue again. But we have some of the good interaction, like a couple Tellurian Geysers, slowing our opponent down and drawing us a card. A Phyrexian Espionage to be a nice 2-for-1 draw spell. Not a big fan of Impede, Momentum, and Negate. Timely Interference is fine, not as good as I'd hoped it would be, mainly because there's not a lot of combat going on in the blue decks. You've got a lot of evasive creatures where the combat trick doesn't do much that often. But then there's like Lore Master, which I just don't really want to play. Tidepool Turtle, also not great. Sea Scavenger's pretty filler. So not a lot of blue cards, but some okay stuff going on in blue. Taking a peek at our black now, we have excellent removal in this color, 2 Extinguish the Light and 2 Tribute to Urborg. It's already a pretty decent reason to be interested in this color. I guess there's not much else going on in the color. Bunch of fine stuff. But the removal is really the exciting part here. We've also got an okay draw spell for more domainy with the Shadow Prophecy. But it's pretty much a stack of good removal. And a bunch of filler creatures here. Taking a look at our red now, almost everything in red is pretty filler. These filler combat tricks, some filler creatures. However, there's one card I'm really excited about. If we are in a domain sort of strategy, red would be a pretty good support color just because of the Sprouting Goblin. This card is really, really good at mana fixing you in this format because it searches for a land card with a basic land type, reveals it, and puts it into your hand. So this can search for those common dual lands. So really, really like a red splash for some Sprouting Goblins if we end up as a green-based domain deck. Alright, final color here, green. Hopefully we saved the best for last. There are certainly some cards I don't really want to play, like Threats Undetected and Leaf Crowned Visionary. But we've got some really nice cards at 2 mana. Triple Vine Wall for mana fixing, triple Root Walla to be a pretty big creature if we have a high domain count. Yavimaya Iconoclast is just always a pretty big creature for the mana cost. Deathbloom Gardener for splashing, Bog Badger's fine filler. Sparkweave Crusher's a little on the lower end, but Vine Shaper Prodigy is another great card if you can kick this. Yeah, this is a really awkward sealed pool. I have not seen any really clear sign of where to go here. The best colors we have are just like green, which has like some pretty good creatures, some pretty solid creatures. I would say it's that green has a bunch of creatures that are on like the higher end of filler stuff. And then our second best color is like black, which just has like some good removal. But there's like no major win conditions. Like I guess we're just trying to close out the game with these Root Wallas. Very, very much not a fan of this sealed pool, but I'll take another look. Just a quick skim through the colors, but I don't know here. I guess the best we can do is like green, black, splash in some blue for Domain and Vine Shaper Prodigy's kickers. Maybe splash in some red as well for Sprouting Goblins. Maybe it's like green, black, play all of our dual lands and splash everything. If we play all of our dual lands, that's already 5 red sources if we don't put in Karplusan Forest. Right, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 5 mountains. Probably put in the forest as well, even though it doesn't have land types. Yeah, I guess it's probably just going to be like green, black, a bunch of splashes. Yep, well, that seems where we're at. Well, we've got a bunch of solid duels, we've got triple Vine Wall, we've got a couple Sprouting Goblins, and all of our good removal. Well, the majority of our good removal is in black, so I think black kind of has to be the secondary color here. Also going to make it really easy to cast the Bortuk Bone Rattle, which is good. I don't think I end up playing Adarkar Wastes. That's probably the only dual land I don't play here. I don't think I'm going to run anything in the deck that needs white mana, so because this isn't a Plains island, it doesn't have the basic land types, it's just not any better than just an island would be in here. Forgetting Vine Shaper Prodigy kickers. Yeah, we're not going to run Adarkar Wastes. I don't see anything in white that is splashable off a single white. Our most exciting white card is Citizen's Arrest, and that costs double white. I'm just not going to try to go for that here. Anything super splashable in blue? Terror would be fine. But I don't think I'm going to have a super high instant sorcery count. Our other good blue cards are double blue like Talus Lookout. You're probably not splashing too much. Alright, let's get some more filler creatures in here out of black. Shadow Prophecy is probably pretty solid in here. Restoration I've been a decent fan of in Sealed. Tends to go pretty slow, and when you can resurrect something like a Bone Rattle and gain a ton of life, it's always a pretty dang good deal. Or if you get a Necromass, if you're super lucky, that would be pretty nuts. Probably splashing an Errata, that does get much more threatening with all of our domain. Don't think we have enough defenders to go for the Walking Bulwark thing. We are probably going for Mana Worker, maybe even Meteorite, so I'll put it in for now. Those will just help us get our off-color kicker effects. Probably play the Tail Swipe, a couple Sprouting Goblins, and I think that's it for super playable stuff. Yep. Let's go ahead and look through our non-land cards now, find 6 cards to cut, and call it a deck. Alright, so I think we have a ton of cheap creatures in here for a sealed deck, and I think triple Vine Wall might be more than we need here. Don't love the Battlefly Swarm or the little Splatter Goblin here. I think these are my favorite 2 drops or less, and we'd still have 5 of them if we cut all that. Probably still want to play like 1 or 2 Vine Walls. We've got 7 dual lands to try to pull out of the top 6. Leave the Vine Walls in for now. I think I'm going to cut these cheap little black creatures. Don't love the Barricade. We don't have a ton of stuff to sack. I guess we could just cut down a lot on the black here. Black is kind of just for the non-creature spells at that point. 19 creatures. Yeah, that drops to 17. Cutting those out. 2 more cuts to go, and we've just got a deck. Could cut the 2 Vine Walls. Call it a day. Or just one of them, one of something else. Tail Swipe does not look great in here. It's fine with like 3/3s and above, of which we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's not a lot of cards that can actually Tail Swipe well, so I'm actually going to cut Tail Swipe and a Vine Wall. And then I think this is going to be the deck. Does not look like much, but neither does our sealed pool. This is kind of just, I don't know, just as solid a strategy I think as we're gonna pull out of the sealed pool. It's got our 2 best colors, our most consistent creature color and our most consistent removal color together. It's got splashes to be able to splash in any of our most powerful cards, but we really don't have any cards that powerful worth splashing. So we kind of just have Bortuck, Errata, I guess, some Vine Shaper Prodigy kickers. Not an excellent sealed pool, but I think this is a fine place to go with it. So let's get our mana base in order. Shouldn't be too difficult to do, only have 2 main colors I'm trying to hit. 12 green cards, 8 black cards. We've got 5, 6, 7, 8 green sources already. That's pretty good. 5, 6, 7 black sources. 8 to 7. Seems just about right. And for red sources, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're good on the red splash. Could see cutting a swamp for 1 more forest here. Green is a very important color, and it gives us access to Deathbloom Gardener and Double Vine Wall, which help find our other colors. So I think I will up the green by 1. And then that'll be the mana base, and that'll be the deck. Here we are in game 1 with our pretty mediocre deck. Unfortunately, we are going to have to mulligan this hand. I did cut a swamp for a forest over Arena's suggestions, so Arena's just being rude to me on that opener. This one, I'm pretty sure I can keep. We drop 1 Extinguish the Light here, because we'll need double black to cast those. We might not get there. Meteorite will make sure, at least on like turn 6, we can hit the double black. but we might not hit the lands we need to cast Meteorites. Opponent will start things off with an automatic Librarian. 3-2 and they will scry 2. I will offer the trade here. Trade it is. Drop a tapped land and pass. We now have the blue source that we need to kick the Vine Shaper Prodigy, so that should be pretty nice. Balduvian Atrocity kicked to bring back the Librarian. So they get to hit us for 3 and scry 2 again. Pretty great card with good enter the battlefield effects like that. Definitely explains why they were very happy to trade very early. I think we're gonna Vine Shaper Prodigy here. See what we can draw into. Necromass and a Deathbloom Gardener. Don't really need the Deathbloom Gardener here with a Meteorite coming up, so Necromass it'll be. Tattered Apparition. I think that's good enough to go ahead and tribute to Urborg. Love to Meteorite it instead, though, because I could tribute to Urborg something else later kicked. But I don't have the mana for Meteorite this turn, and I don't really want to take a hit from that. Yeah, I'm just gonna -2 it. We might end up extinguishing this Atrocity just because of its menace. Oh, that's brutal. Did miss out on 2 damage at least. Yeah, it makes Necromass really cheap. Me choking Miasma from our opponent. A 2-for-1 killing Rootwalla and Prodigy. What else have you got, Rakdos opponent? Fricking Mind Rot. That's so obnoxious. I would be so much happier if they just did not make Mind Rot variants. It's such a coin flip card. Opponent is gonna scry 2 now. There are 2 main strategies that newer players and older players alike can be pretty frustrated by. Mill and discard. I'm very okay with mill, but discard does grind my gears. Especially in limited, because it's really the kind of mechanic that, because you're not impacting the board in any way, it's just all about how good putting your opponent at card disadvantage is going to be. And most discard spells like Mind Rot are be awkward in the sense that if you top deck them when your opponent has an empty library or an empty hand, they're just horrible and can often lose you the game because you've just hit absolutely nothing. So I almost never play Mind Rot effects for that reason, but I almost always get destroyed by Mind Rot effects. I guess the thing about them that you have to realize is that there's probably a lot of games where your opponent has a Mind Rot effect and doesn't get you with it, but you would just never see it because they just keep it in their hand if it's not going to make you discard anything. So you only get to see Mind Rot at its absolute best. But I guess that's what it probably is. That's why I always get frustrated by those kinds of effects. It's just like, why is this so incredible for my opponent every time, but anytime I try to do it, it's just horrible? But then think about it, like, what are the times when it's horrible and you don't get to use it well? Well, those are times where I just keep it in my hand because I'm not making my opponent discard anything. And it's like, okay, well, if your opponent had in that position, would you have seen it? No. So I wouldn't even know if my opponent had a mind rot when I had nothing in hand. My opponent is drawing like an absolute mad lad. We are very far behind. Primarily because of the mind rot, the discard 2 effect. But our opponent has also hit a lot of good 2-for-1s like Phyrexian Rager. They've Librarian 3 times this game. Librarian, Atrocity for Librarian, and I think this is a new one. Yep. They've done it 4 times this game, jeez. And they have top decked gas yet again. Some kind of trick here. Not much to say there. I can drop Vine Wall, double block the Menace and take 6, drop Vine Wall, block the Librarian, not have 2 creatures to block the Menace and take 5. That's just game at that point. Oh, opponent got a 2-for-1 off choking Miasma as well. Yeah, that was a pretty cookie cutter kind of card advantage sort of limited game. Opponent got 2 2-for-1s on me. 1 choking Miasma, ripping 2 of my creatures off the board, 1 sabotage, ripping 2 threats out of my hand, 1 Phyrexian Rager, putting a creature on the board and drawing a card. A lot of very nice 2-for-1s in my opponent's deck there. Going to give them that game pretty handedly. This probably has to be a mulligan, stuck on 2 lands here. If I hit a red one, then I'm really good, but hit any land, I guess I get Shadow Prophecy, and I am on the draw. I've got a Tribute to Urborg against a cheap threat. If I can Shadow Prophecy, that should dig me into more land. So if I hit another land, I guess it's possible I just hit a forest or swamp, and this is just draw 2. I don't do any scrying. I guess I'll mulligan. Probably shouldn't be that greedy. We'll keep this one. Need to make it to 5 mana, so it could drop like a Bog Badger, but we're at 3 already. It's enough to cast all this. Yeah. Just drop a land there. Alright, Sunbathing Root Wall is a pretty spicy draw. Knight of Dusk's Shadow is incredibly spicy to drop. They have 1-upped me there. 2/2 with Menace that can get buffed for 2 mana. Uh-oh. Opponent's got the curve out on the play. Oh my god, they've got a Liliana of the Veil and a Shivan Devastator. And cheap efficient removal like Flowstone Infusion. This seems like a fair matchup. Could tribute the Knight here. Yeah, I mean, Bog Badger's not blocking anything all that well. Let's just try to stay alive. Not get curved out by the opponent on the play with 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop that hard. I'm gonna have to take this trade for Soul Tender just to try to stay around for the long game here. My opponent has Liliana, Jaya, and Shivan Devastator, the triple mythic sealed pool.
And blaze a path.
Super flavorful that I might get to Extinguish the Light this Jaya later, but I can't right now because I don't have double black. Since we have trade with Soul Tender, they will eventually get to bring back their Shivan Devastator from graveyard, but I don't have any exile removal in my deck, so I'd have to trade with that Soul Tender at some point anyway. So no matter what, we're going to have to deal with their Shivan Devastator at a later time, so I just wanted to stop as much damage as possible. If I really wanted to stop them from giving Shivan Devastator back, I'd have to sit here taking 3 damage every turn, which would put a pretty quick clock on me, which is why I went for the trade, even though it lets them bring back Shivan Devastator. But the fact that we have to deal with a Shivan Devastator and a Jaya means it's just over. The plan was, hopefully I hit the second black mana to have Extinguish the Light up by the time they get back Shivan Devastator so I can blow it up in game 3, but now I have to blow up a Jaya and a Devastator and I can't do that. And Jaya's already gotten a ton of value even if I could blow her up this turn. So this is just a devastating matchup here. Definitely definitive proof against the arena conspiracy theorists that there is no deck strength algorithm in how you get paired up and limited.
I improvise
The 0 rare deck, sorry, the 1 dual land rare deck versus the double planeswalker triple mythic deck. How did they get that back? Oh, they have 2 Knight of Dust Shadows too? Jesus. Their commons and uncommons are great too. And they have the mana up to buff it. Oh, I really don't want to have to extinguish Jaya, but I guess I do. And I will just die to a Shivan Devastator. Gotta go for the flavor win here.
Round 2.
Gotta go for the flavor win before the game's over. While we still can. Good lord, opponent. Please stop playing rares. Oh my god. That is rare number 4 in their 2-color deck. I guess they didn't play these 2 rares, but they are going to soon enough play that Shivan Devastator. Still have the mana up to pay for saving the Knight from Meteorite. They're gonna get a 4/4 dragon next turn. Triple pump, kill both our creatures. That's pretty good with the prowess dorks. This is probably the most nuts sealed pool I've seen so far. Alright. Oh. Guess we're gonna Vine Shaper Prodigy now. Now we have the second Extinguish the Light to get rid of Shivan Devastator. But I actually think I'm dead on board. Yeah, no, because the Menace. No, I had to hold up Extinguish the Light and blow up the Flyer, I guess. Take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But I gained 2. Then they Devastator me the turn after that. Yeah, I should have just held up Extinguish there. They can kill me on board. Not that I had a chance this game. They've got the Atrocity as well in there. That is very nice. Puts me from dead to super dead. I was already dead without the Atrocity. Oh, and 2. Oh, I wanted to take a second look at their graveyard to look through their deck, but that was a 6/6/6 sealed pool for my opponent. Liliana, Jaya, Shivan Devastator, Elder Dragon War. Great uncommons as well. 2 of the uncommon Black Knight. Balduvian Atrocity. Even their commons were solid filler. They had a tribute to Urborg. They had a lightning strike. Ooh. Hopefully don't have to run up against a deck like that for round 3 here. Alright, round 3, we've got a turn 2 Vine Wall, we've got a Mana Worker. Let's go for it. I'm actually gonna Mana Worker here so I know I can turn 3 Sprouting Goblin kicked. Opponent is on a multicolored deck as well. A domainy strategy. Let's grab the Sacred Peaks, a red-white here. Do need another black for Extinguish the Light, but I've got a decent amount of black sources, so I guess I could go red-black or something. Yeah, that way I'm upping the domain and I have a way to cast Extinguish the Light even if Mana Worker dies. And now that I have the next black source, I will just straight block the Missionary. I probably would have done it even if I hadn't picked up a black source there, because that's just too much of a free attack for my opponent. Like, they'd make that attack almost every time without a trick. I guess I get to double block. Yeah, so they would have not done that if I didn't have 2 creatures. Well, that actually panned out kind of well for me then. Yeah, that was better than double blocking or not blocking, because double blocking they kill my goblin, and not blocking they just do 2 to my face. Alright, well, wasn't paying the maximum amount of attention there. I probably should have just went for a double block, but paid off pretty well. But I didn't pay attention. We've got 3 green sources and 2 black sources right now. We'll take another black. I will take 2 to the face. Opponent is stuck on 3 mana here. Just drop a Rada. Lightning Strike with the Rada. I don't know if I've ever even opened a Lightning Strike in a sealed pool yet. But I have opened a lot of Extinguish the Lights, which is nice. I think I'd rather tribute than extinguish this thing, so I'm gonna wait. Because I need to put an instant or sorcery in my grave for tribute to do enough of a -X/-X. So now I can do a kicked tribute when I have 4 mana up. I can Badger and still have 4 up. The hand looks really good here. We've drawn like literally all of our removal, which is kind of nuts. Hello, Argivian Phalanx. I could kick a tribute on Missionary, then kick a tribute on Phalanx during my turn and still have double extinguish. And I'm still holding up an extinguish here. Airborne Repossession, very good value play, especially with a Phyrexian Missionary. And there's the Missionary. Just keep the path clear and keep hitting in for 5 a turn. Really don't have to meteorite their face, but I might soon enough. They'd have to tap out to recast this Phalanx. I'm gonna play a Loam Speaker, which unfortunately is also 3 toughness. Meteorite looking pretty bad. Extinguish and hit for 6. Probably not worth it. Root Wall is some spice. They block Goblin, take 4. I guess I could meteorite the Loam Speaker here. Yeah. Now that it's blocked. They're just gonna scoop them up. Just a whole lot of nothing going on in hand, I guess. Well, at least we have found 1 victory in the Cursed Sealed run today. The Uncommon squad finds 1 win. We are 1-2 now, heading into round 4. Here we are now, round 4. Another turn 2 mana worker. Got double black and double green thanks to this Haunted Mire. We've got our main colors. Turn 2 Iconoclast could be a thing. Could also just turn 3 it kicked, thanks to Mana Worker. I think that'll be the play here. Kind of the mirror match going on. Green-black from our opponents. Automatic Librarian, hitting the board, scrying some cards, setting up our opponent's draws. Trade in with Iconoclast. Drop a Root Walla. Opponent has a blue source now, so blue, black, and green. And a Vine Shaper Prodigy coming down kicked, allowing our opponent to draw another card out of the top 3. Root Wall threatens to be absolutely massive, so we'll send it in here. I'll take a turn off to kill one of these creatures on board if our opponent offers. I will not take a turn off just to damage my opponent though. It would be 7 damage, maybe I would. We are full domain right now. See what our opponent's got cooking up here. They've got 4 mana up, 5 cards in hand. Be a lot of stuff. Urborg Lurgoyf has a 4/5. Extinguish the Light's gonna be nice here. I'm just gonna pop it now. Hit for 1. Probably would have been more damage if I just attacked with Root Walla and then extinguished post-combat. Because it's, again, it attacks as a 7/7. They don't have a good block for that. Yeah, I should have just attacked with Root Walla and extinguished post-combat. Alright, opponent slowing us down with a Tolarian Geyser, dropping a Yavimaya Coast. We've got another Extinguish the Light. That's pretty spicy. I think I'm going to double Root Walla here. The biggest threats in hand. Defiler of Dreams. That's a pretty sick rare. Allows them to draw a card every time they cast a blue permanent. So we are going to kill that. I should attack with double Root Walla first again. Two mana up. Yeah, we just let it happen. I guess that's the same amount of damage I would have done anyway. I literally punted into the opposite direction that way. I could have done 1 more damage if I blew the creature up first, then attacked with all 3. Got a 1/1 here. Death Touch is annoying, but I've got a Restoration I can probably use. Probably Vine Shaper Prodigy this turn. I think we are sending in the squad. I get full value here and kill this Mana Worker, or do I just Vine Shaper Prodigy? Now let's get this thing out of the way. If this is a bite down from my opponent, that'd be really bad. Colossal Growth. That, I guess, is pretty much the same. I get to keep their Death Toucher out now, though. Talus Lookout on board. Now I can actually Vine Shaper Prodigy and buff Root Walla in the same turn. Or I could Rada and Vine Shaper Prodigy. Okay, I don't have to buff Root Walla, but if I do, I put my opponent to 7. I think I will. And then drop a Rada here. Now it looks like we are threatening to close this game out pretty quickly. Rada does not give trample, but I can throw Rada's damage all into the Mana Worker. And that should be pretty good. Another Talus Lookout. Very good stuff over there. When those die, our opponent gets to draw a card out of the top 2 cards of their library. They have one card left in their hand. Got a Tribute to Urborg. Clears out a blocker just immediately. Get rid of the Death Toucher here. Vortex. The Root Walla, so it goes back to our hand. No, they did kick it. That's rough. I guess we're on Vine Shaper Prodigy then. Pass. If I attack both, they kill Rada and take 6. Go to 1, but I don't have Rada anymore. I have a 1-3 and a 2-2. I guess they could also just chump Mana Worker and kill Rada. They have got to have removal for Rada if they're attacking like that. Yep, that'll tap Rada down. Keep them tapped for a turn. Shadow Prophecy's pretty good. Look at the top 5 cards in my library here. Get a Sprouting Goblin and a Sunbathing Root Walla. Get some nice card advantage here. Grab another green source and pass. Timely Interference, kicked to kill our Root Walla. They can kill Root Walla and our 2-2 Prodigy this way. I think it's worth it to get a 4-4 out of the way. Another Root Walla, let's go. I honestly think I'm just on Root Walla squad here. Just Root Walla, Root Walla, Root Walla. And this is why I thought green was kind of our best color, just because all these Root Wallas. And the solid mana fixing. The Prodigy is pretty good too. I believe we do go for attacks now. This turn. Alright, they are going to scoop them up. They could kill Rada, but then they have to go chump chump and go to 1 life. So yeah, that's writings on the wall there. Now that we've got the double Root Walla back on board. And we're going to be 2-2. Really nice recovery after the sad start. Alright, here we are on the play, round 5. Pretty good hand. Good mana. We've got our main threats, the Root Walla and the Rada, as well as the Restoration for late game to bring one of them back. Let's get things rolling here. Next turn I get to play Vine Wall, try to pull out a blue source for Prodigy. Well, looks like no attacks this turn. I'm not sending into that Herbalist. I can also just play a Gardener now that I drew into that. Guarantee the Prodigy. It's probably worth it. Opponent is going to get to gain the life and scry 1 here off of the Samite Herbalist. Then an inscribed tablet. What are they holding up? They did not want to sack the tablet here to find their 3rd land drop. I don't know. Let's kick a Vine Shaper Prodigy. Actually, I guess we'll find out here. 1 white mana, they're gonna kill Rootwalla? Am I forgetting something? Maybe they're just using it during my end step. Be a little weird though, since they hit their, or missed their land drop. Yeah. Maybe there's just some 1 white mana instant I wasn't thinking of. So I got another land for Domain there. I should have thought that through a little more. If there was a white land, actually, I should have taken that instead, because it would up Domain and get to Restoration. But the blue source gets to Tribute kicked. So, I don't know. Fine land also. Take up the shield, rude. Can drop Rod and hold up Tribute. Probably should have just killed the Herbalist while my opponent was tapped out. King Darien. Okay, never mind, I'll kill it now. Because this is not going to do -3/-3 anytime soon. I guess next turn I could Tribute Prodigy just so I can have an instant engrave for the Tribute to Urborg. Or Restoration, the thing. But I need 8 mana, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, no, I think we just try to outrace Darien a little here. Or force Darien into a trade. Vine Wall. There's the white source. Puts Domain to absolutely massive. Alright, we are definitely outracing Darien. That's 15 damage. Opponent is at 6. Sunbathing Rootwalla Rada Coalition Warlord Wombo combo coming in hot. They do have the Runic Shot to kill Rada, but they will have to chump block the Rootwalla here, or else it deals lethal. And I can Restoration to bring Rada back. Let's clear out a blocker. Thank you, Auto Tapper. Very cool. I guess that's actually fine because I need to spend all 4 on Restoration anyway. So, but yeah, I'm gonna Restoration Rada here. Just unkicked. Just take a bunch of damage to the face because we're just trying to close this game out quickly before our opponent hits lands. They're just going to scoop them up. They are over it, and we are now 3-2, leading to at least another average sealed run here after a bad 0-2 start to it. I guess that'll just be my sealed experience in this format, is just 0-2 into 3-2. Just how all my sealed events are going to go. Alright, here we are now, game 6. We are 3-2, so another loss will take us out of the event. And another win will get us to a pretty solid record. At least 4 wins or more. Playing against Blue-Black with a turn 2 Haunting Figment. I'm going to just kick this sprouting goblin, get it out of the way, get my second black source before they extinguish the light. Kind of want an untapped black source just in case I need to extinguish next turn. That seems unlikely. I guess I have more than enough forests. I already have 2 forests, and I have 2 more green lands in hand. Yeah, we'll take the untapped black source. Another Haunting Figment. Alright. Haunting Figment's popping off. Probably gonna tribute one here. Or I could just buff Root Walla or threaten to buff Root Walla. Yeah, I mean, that seems fine. 5 damage. Yeah, we'll just race for now, I suppose. Floriferous Vine Wall. Alright, no interaction still, so we've hit our opponent down to 10 with this 1 Root Walla. Sunbathing Root Walla MVP. Oh, there's a blue source. Makes it hit even harder. Probably shouldn't have played it. If I played an untapped land, I could hold up Tribute and buff it. Opponent is down to 4 off a single Sunbathing Root Walla. They've hit their red source now, though, so maybe a Lightning Strike, clear it out. Amplifier, put it back to our hand. That works as well. Take a couple from Figment. Like to hold up Tribute, which I can do, and cast Vine Wall. Or Swamp it is, I guess. They have 6 mana up now. Try to kill this thing while it's trying to hurt us. It is killed. And a Coalition Warbrute. Root Wall is essentially a 7/7, so the attack's already free. I don't really need to extinguish the light. Alright, that's fine. Probably do Shadow Prophecy right now. Get a Rada and a Vine Shaper, or do I get a Tribute to try to clear the board? I think I'd go wide at this point. Take the Vine Shaper. I've still got to extinguish the light if it's going to be necessary to get things out of the way. Uh-oh, Essence Scatter. 2 mana up. Rough. No! Kicked in Thrall to the pit lets them sacrifice my Root Walla. I mean, I guess you could enlist it. Same damage either way. I guess this way I don't get to just chump with Vine Wall. That's pretty rough. Oh, Meteorite to shoot my opponent for 2 in the face. Kind of appealing. And we definitely have to extinguish this War Brute though. So I think I'm actually just kicking a Vine Shaper Prodigy. And then extinguish the light on War Brute. While they're tapped out, since they are in blue with counterspells. And then I guess if this Vine Shaper Prodigy gets in, I can Meteorite for the last 2 damage. Alright. Prodigy cannot get through a 1-3, nor can it get through a 3-1. We're going to have to Meteorite the 3-1 now. Sadly. And we are out of gas. We have ended up in a top deck war, a position I despise being in. But that's where we're at now. The war has begun. Opponent has drawn an island. We have drawn a Haunted Mire. Both players drawing gas. Opponent just passes through their turn. Not letting us know what they've drawn. We've got 13 cards left in our deck, but I'm still going to kick this Goblin to reduce the land count in here. Looks like one of our opponent's draws may have been an Essence Scatter here, that they're deciding whether or not to use on our 2-2. No counterspell on the 2-2. We have 3 lands left in our deck. Other than that, we have Writhing Necromass, Bortuk, Bone Rattle, Extinguished Light, Shieldred's Restoration, Bog Badger, Double Root Walla, Vine Shaper Prodigy, and Iconoclast. Our deck is pretty much all gas right now, so that looking through a Sprouting Goblin just made me a lot more confident about this top deck war. Feel like our odds are good if we are not very unlucky. Get to Amplifier, bounce the Mana Worker, I guess. Anything else they bounce, I get value off of it re-entering the battlefield. Bounce the Goblin. Maybe they're going to counter it this time. I'll pull another forest out of this deck. Get that out of the way. The 1-3 War. Ooh, Sunbathing Root Wall. I'm definitely playing the Sprouting Goblin first to draw out a counter spell if they have one. Alright, well. Now there's going to be 1 land left in the deck after this ability resolves. 1 forest left in the deck. Here's Sunbathing Root Walla. There is the Essence Scatter, making the Amplifier a 3-2. Could trade Prodigy into it or put them to 2 life. I guess if I went... It's a 1-2. It is a 1-2 when it doesn't have the extra power. Yeah, it's probably not ideal. I guess I should have been casting my creatures post-combat because of Amplifier's ability. I've got double Vine Wall here, so I'm kind of safe to just, when they do things like attack with Berserker, just crack back with pretty much everybody. Jaya's Fire Nado on a Vine Wall. It is interesting. I'm confused why they'd want to do a Vine Wall instead of anything else. This is a big enlist, so I mean we chump here. Bortuck Bone Rattle? Is there anything with haste or anything that does 1 extra damage somehow? No. We just Bone Rattle for Rada, I guess? Yep. Put them to 1, then Bone Rattle for Rada. Bortuck absolutely massive there. Maybe I should have got a Sunbathing Root Walla instead of Rada. I actually probably should have. That is going to be the 4th win regardless. But if I got a Sunbathing Root Walla instead of Rada, that plays around our opponent potentially drawing into a chain of instants and sorceries that draw them a card. Like if they go Timely Interference, Tolarian Geyser, Timely Interference, like that kind of thing. I guess it wouldn't play around Tolarian Geyser because they could have bounced the Sunbathing Root Walla. But that way I could have a creature out on board that is able to block the Berserker, but also not kill it in case they get this amplifier up to 7 power and then enlist it to make the Berserker an 8 power creature. That way I could block Berserker without killing it and not take the 8 damage to face. So maybe I should went for Root Walla instead of Rada because it puts just as much... It puts 1 less power on the board. The Rada gives us a 3/3 that gives +5/+5 to something else. The Root Walla gives us a 2/2 that gives +5/+5 to itself. So, yeah, and even our opponent's even at 1 life, so the amount of damage doesn't really matter. I probably should have taken Root Walla there. Regardless, we are going to find the victory there, and we are now 4-2, so pretty much identical to our last. Our first sealed run. With the 0-2 start into 4 wins now. I will absolutely take it, and I'll run with it as far as I can go here. Here we are now in round 7. I think I want to keep this hand because of Mana Worker. It is risky, but if Mana Worker doesn't die, I can Vine Wall. For the 3rd land, if I make it to 4, I can Prodigy. I'm going to keep it. We're on the draw here. We have more green sources than anything else in this deck as well. And obviously green sources kind of would annihilate any risk that we have in this hand. Opponent with turn 1 Pixie Illusionist. We did draw a green source. Makes me feel nice and safe now. May even just play Root Walla. Next turn play a Tributary and Vine Wall. Turn 3 for our opponent. And they're going to go ahead and use Pixie Illusionist to get double green and just drop Tachiova. That is bold. Now I have a very good opportunity to kill Tachiova before she gets the 7 lands. Usually I tend not to play Tachiova until I have 6 lands on board, then I play her and play my 7th land as land per turn. But sometimes you don't have any other creatures to play early game. But I'm very happy with that because now I can extinguish Tachiova before she does anything. I think I am on a Vine Wall here. Grab a black source, there we go. Drop a Tributary, and then next turn we'll play this Swamp untapped and blow up Tachiova. Alright, they're just getting in. We'll take 4, down to 15. They might have a negate or something, which is why they're being so bold. I guess if I just put the Swamp out and pass, they can't attack him with Tachiova anymore. Without using a trick to get rid of Root Walla here. And then I can still kill Tachiova in their end step after they've spent the mana dealing with Root Walla. If it's an instant speed trick, And this is an issue because then I would like have to block Pump Root Wall and they'd respond with it. Okay, tap out for, oh my god, a Sphinx of Clear Skies. I need 6 mana to shoot that. That could be another reason that you feel very safe to run out Tachiova if you just have a Mega Bomb Mythic in hand as well. You use Tachiova to draw the removal so the Sphinx is clear. I need 2 more mana to shoot this Sphinx. I think I have to just extinguish Tachiova, gain some life, and then hope to draw a second extinguish in the next few turns thanks to like Vine Shaper Prodigy here. Because if I just blow up Sphinx, I am very much dying to Tachiova. They're only 2 lands away from turning everything into creatures. There's a Meteorite. Yeah, we need to just kick Vine Shaper Prodigy. We are digging. Tribute to Urborg is a potential removal spell. Pretty sure we're dead to Sphinx. Last turn was basically just the choose your own adventure, die to Tachiova or die to Sphinx. No matter what, opponent would have gotten that hit off of Sphinx here. And drawn the extra card. If they still had a Tachiova out, they might have drawn the 2 lands. I guess because I had tributes in my deck, maybe the play was to just hope for tribute specifically, because then I couldn't kill Tachiova with tribute yet. I would spend this turn killing the Sphinx with all 6 of my mana, then extinguish the light as in my grave, and then the turn after this is when I would kill Tachiova. So Tachiova would still get a 3/3, but the Sphinx would be gone. What do we do now? Do we shoot the smaller flyer? Yeah, that was probably our only hope. Kind of forgot about double tribute as a way to get rid of Tachiova. Yep. There was a better way to play the outs here, which was to just let Tachiova pop off for a little bit to hope to draw into tribute specifically. More instant speed removal from our opponent. Sure is. Tear asunder. Oh my god, now they get to draw a million. Alright, that's game. I can reduce Sphinx's power and not kill it, I guess. It costs 4 mana to do, to even target it in the first place. Okay, I guess. But then I just die to the Trampler. Alright. Unfortunate way to end it there. I would have had a chance if I had seen the future and remembered to play around my potential top deck of Tribute to Urborg. So kind of a learning moment there. One of the things that you can do is play to your outs, think what are the different cards that I could have to get out of this situation to kill Tachiova. And I was only considering outs to deal with Sphinx of Clear Skies, which is where I messed up there. By only thinking of outs to Sphinx of Clear Skies, I was only thinking about the Extinguish the Light, but what I should have realized is that I do have 2 Tribute to Urborg in this deck as well, which was only going to be -3/-3. But -3/-3 would be big enough to kill the Tachiova later, so if I could draw a Tribute to Urborg in the next few turns, then I would also have a way to deal with both cards. So I extinguish the Sphinx on turn 6, and then Urborg the Tachiova. So it would have been the strictly better play to just not extinguish Tachiova. The reason I wanted to do that is I wanted to keep pressure off me with my opponent just constantly damaging me there, and it would gain 3 life, keep some pressure off, make sure that we've dealt with one of the bombs, because we definitely have to deal with both of them. But I wasn't considering the fact that we have more ways in our deck to deal with Tachiova than to deal with the Sphinx, and we could have drawn into a card like Tribute to Urborg that could only deal with Tachiova and not Sphinx. So my whole thought process there was basically I have to deal with both, so might as well deal with the one that I can deal with now. But that wasn't taking into account that I had a wider variety of answers to Tachiova, which was where I messed up there. That being said, I don't think we were going to win that game regardless. We would have been at 3 less life. Our opponent still would have drawn the first card, gotten that Frost Fist thing, and seeing what they were going to draw into later, getting a Silver Scrutiny and stuff. Eventually, pretty sure our deck is firmly outclassed by opponents there, and we still lose. Just takes quite a bit longer to do it, but definitely made the strictly worse play there, unfortunately, in the last round. But 4-3, still really happy with that for this sealed pool. I thought this sealed pool was really, really bad, so getting a 4-3 run is pretty nice in my opinion. I think we made a solid deck with it as well, getting some of our best creatures in here, the Root Wallas, the Prodigies, the Rada, and definitely the Bortek Bone Rattle. And our best removal, double Extinguish, double Tribute. I ended up playing pretty solid after the first couple games there, but certainly not an incredible sealed pool that I think is mega capable of getting a 7-win run like our round 2 opponent had there with Liliana, Jaya, Elder Dragon War, and Shivan Devastator and all that. But we made do with what we had, and we got a pretty good record here, 4-3. Not bad at all. Again, definitely made some errors throughout. I made some errors in the first 2 rounds I lost as well as several of the rounds that I won. Not playing at my peak here, but still pretty happy with how the deck was and how it went. So that is going to end today's video. As always, if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send some more of these videos to you in your recommended feeds. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I will see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.